is a writer extraordinaire and the author of American Betrayal, which is one of the best books out there today. Welcome to the show, Diana.
Thank you, Sam. Great to be with you. Thank you very much.
You've written this great piece on Breitbart, Dimitude or Dimitude, and the first one being stupidity-atude.
Yes.
You're really taking the conservative right to task for attacking Pamela Geller on the basis of propriety.
Yes. This is not about propriety. This is about a fight literally for our liberties. And I feel as if the conservatives above all should be aware of what is really going on. And what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing in these interviews is an absence of knowledge that is death. I mean, you've got to know your enemy. You've got to know.
When you want local talk that makes a difference, there's only one station in the Triangle to go to, Talk Radio 850.
CNN is considering, with Anderson Cooper, the host, of having a game show on their network, their news network, and it would be a political Jeopardy show is apparently what the concept is all about. And we were coming up with other game shows they could have on the show, Dave. They're smarter than Wolf Blitzer. Would be a good show. How about the Wheel of Misinformation?
The Morning Drive, 6 to 10 a.m. on Talk Radio 850.
Laura, that was an amazing meal. The guys really went to town on that leg of lamb.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. I'm glad everyone enjoyed it.
It's hard to believe how much you and Jim have done with the house in such a short amount of time. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah, we love it too. And the kids are really thriving in school here. But
what? Something's wrong. I know you too well.
Jim's company is cutting his salary, and he may even get laid off. He doesn't think we'll be able to afford the mortgage.
Oh, Laura. You know what? My cousin Susan and her husband were in a similar situation, but they got some terrific advice for free from a housing counselor from the NFCC, the National Foundation for Credit Counseling. You need to be careful who you can trust these days with so many so-called mortgage consultants out there. The NFCC is nonprofit and has been around for more than...
Symbolic of the whole concept that you cannot criticize Muhammad, the prophet of Islam, or even reject it, or even leave it peaceably and try to live your own life. I mean, this is what happens to apostates. They are killed. They are certainly marked for death. So this is essentially what I'm looking at on the right, and it is staggeringly disappointing. And I don't feel like people are coming up to speed in terms of understanding that this is, as Pamela Geller will say, a war. It's a war. Wars can be fought in very different ways, but this is certainly a war.
I think you've just touched on the crucial point. The conservatives who have come out against her don't want to wage war, and they don't want war waged on their behalf, by her, basically. And I'll tell you, just to be perfectly upfront, when I heard about the contest, I thought, oh, come on, that's not nice. Like, you know what I mean? Because, they worship that guy and their rule. But at the same time, I said, but then again, those are their rules. They're not my rules. I don't have the rule, that I'm not allowed to draw the profit. So their profit. So, what's the big deal? And I didn't hear, and I'll tell you this, I didn't hear any commentary before the event. And this is why I find it so outrageous now that they're all coming after, and it's astonishing to me, frankly, that they're all going after her somehow, that somehow she's become the lightning rod. Because I didn't hear any commentary beforehand. Oh, this person they shouldn't have this event. Why are they having this event in the first place? And shame on them and whatever. But now that it's become violent, now somehow they're taking the side of the bringers of the violence.
Yes. Right.
And saying, well, you provoked him. And that, to me, is saying, well, her skirt was so short, she was asking to be raped.
Right. It's also an acceptance of the very law that she is...
That's right.
That we all should be rejecting. But here's the thing. I think there's a historical point here that needs to be recalled to better put the whole event into context. This is really a bookend. This contest is really a bookend for me to the very original cartoon crisis, as so-called, going back to 2005, when the editor at the little Danish newspaper, Jyllands-Posten, in response to fear among Danish book illustrators. There was a project put out by a publisher to have a little apologetic about Muhammad for children, a happy Muhammad book for children, and that publisher could not get artists in Denmark to illustrate it. And when this news came to the editor, Flemming Rose, at Jyllands-Posten, his first impulse was to say, hey, wait a minute, we, just as you did, Sam, we are not under this law. This is Denmark. We don't observe Islamic law. And this was the genesis of his project to invite, it turned out to be a dozen Danish artists and cartoonists to issue their drawing, their vision, their commentary in a picture of Muhammad. And they ran a page of Muhammad cartoons. This is very similar to what we saw in Texas, what Pamela Geller was organizing as one of her many free speech events. I mean, this is not the first one, as she's tried to remind people. She's been doing this for years in various ways. This is the same thing. It is establishing America or establishing Copenhagen and Denmark as places that function according to Danish or American or Western law, not Islamic law. And so when you see the attacks on Jyllands-Posten, on Pamela Geller, and on Salman Rushdie, you know, going on and on and on over the years, we can talk about all kinds of examples of similar flashpoints. You are seeing Westerners, Jews, Christians, secular people, other religions, accepting Islamic dictates on speech.
Yeah.
It isn't just about drawing cartoons or beautiful paintings or statues of Muhammad. It's about commenting on Islam.
It's amazing because we have the war on Christmas every year. It comes back around, and the Freedom from Religion Foundation or American Atheists Associated or whatever it is, and they come out and they put out a display made of beer cans or something to sort of combat the display of the crash or something like that. Sure. And it's covered as if, well, it's free speech. We don't have to like it. That's free speech. That's just the way it is. I look at this the same way. I am what's the word? Sort of viscerally I just have a negative reaction to it because I understand that that's their profit, and so sort of viscerally I'm like, well, there's something that's not too cool.
Well, let me ask
but at the same time, I have the same reaction to the atheists coming out and mocking Jesus Christ and doing all that, and I go, well, that's not too cool, but freedom of speech, and I stand for freedom of speech, and it seems like we've lost our principles.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it also is now, how do you feel, though, about this is, you see, when you look at Muhammad and when you look at Islam, you are looking at a system that is not just a religious
That's correct.
way of life. You are looking at a political machine, and you're looking at a legal system.
That's right.
As such, commentary is actually, it should be invited. I mean, it's commenting on the political side, it's commenting on the legal side, it's commenting on rules about women, it's commenting about the inequality of non-Muslims under Islamic law.
Yeah, because it's commenting on the law. That's what it is. It's a commentary on the law. And it's being shut down, and that shutdown is being supported by conservatives in this country, and they ought to be ashamed. That's
Absolutely. Yes.
It's that simple.
Yes,
I mean,
true.
It seems like it's a very complicated issue, but when Islam itself crosses the border between religion and politics and law, and military, you know what I mean? We're left holding the bag, and unfortunately, I agree with you. This is a great article, and I have to go. Diana West, thanks so much again for coming on. It's always such a great conversation with you.